So we are live now, Deborah. Hi, Deborah
Hi.
Brodey.
Hi, Erica.
Nice to meet and connect with you again. It has been, I think 2 months ago when we connected to speak about your 5-day free radical self-nourishment challenge, which is gonna start next week, next Monday again.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's a very it's a fantastic way to kind of have a little time for you and to go have some deep practices. We're going to be doing some deep self-care practices and meditations every day starting on Monday for about a half an hour. And it's going to be, we're gathering a really nice group together, and I'm excited to dive in with people into their self-care. And I focus a lot with healers and change makers are the people I work with the most. Although it's anybody who feels the pull will, they're probably a change maker and maybe don't know it. Will be called. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm thrilled at the opportunity to talk to you, Erica. I love collaborating, co-creating with you. So appreciate the opportunity to be with you today on this solstice day.
Yes.
Happy solstice.
Happy solstice, dear
Happy
sister.
solstice. Yeah,
Many
and we
blessings, Blagadaru in Russian.
Yeah, Blagadaru, and yeah, many blessings. I'm oh my gosh. I was in a ceremony last night for solstice with a group. I do some work called Embody Your Voice, and we actually did our first outside in a park with, we are only allowed to gather with 10 people. So we had, I think there was 8 of us last night, socially distanced in a beautiful park in Toronto where I live. And wow, it was stunning. It was such a beautiful, I can't tell you, I hadn't been to that park for 3 months. And,
well, yeah, because of the lockdowns, right?
Because of the lockdown, because it's a bit out of my I love it. I mean, I usually go there all the time, and because I haven't been riding the subway and stuff in Toronto, that I just was like, well, I'll just walk in there's some nice parks where I live. So anyway, it was just such a joy, and I can't, you don't realize, how, it's great. I'm so happy we have this way of connecting, that I can connect with you and you're in Germany and I'm in Canada, but there's nothing like being able to connect live. So I feel so, I feel so nourished and fed by the sound. We did a sound ceremony last night and it was beautiful.
Wow.
So nourishing.
I can just only imagine, because the last time you already gifted us with this beautiful sound medicine, and I can just only start to imagine how it would be like if it's live, and it's like, wow. And
it's live, and it's
because
also
it's today's
everybody's
solstice. I would love to invite you maybe to do the connection of the 4 directions to the sounds like we did last time. I found it was very powerful. And how do you feel about that?
Oh, I would love to do that. Why don't we do that? Let's call in a sacred space right now.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So do you want me to create sound that you can do with me, or do you want me to do a sounding so that people can have an experience of the sound? Do you have a preference?
I think since it's like an open circle, an invitation to the world to invite, to join in.
To sound.
So it's not just about me, but an invitation for all of us.
For
and
everybody.
That way we can also be connected with those energies which are obviously all around us and are not specific to one place or to one person.
Okay, no, that's perfect. So what I will do is I will do an invocation, And as I call in each of the directions, I will invite you to make I will say what sound to make, and I will make it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the invitation to everybody listening, whether it's today or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just taking a deep breath. We call in the sacred container for this conversation on this solstice day, summer solstice or winter solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. And we also will be having a new moon and an eclipse later tonight I guess it'll be tomorrow for you, Erica, those of you in Europe. So we honor these energies and we call in the container to support us through the portal, the solstice portal. And we call in the medicines and the qualities from each of the directions. And as I name each direction, if you feel you want a particular quality called in, you just in your mind think it. As I'm saying, I won't be able to say everything. I'll just say a few key words for each direction, and everyone may have their own associations with that direction. That's fine. Just go with your intuition. So we call in the east, the element of fire, and we call in that direction to support us, to illuminate us, to illuminate the mind. The sun brings clarity of mind and purification of our whole mind-body systems. We call in the support from the east to activate our purpose, our passion, our resilience. We call in the east with the ah sound 3 times. Exhale out. Take a breath in. And we give thanks to the east. The east is with us. And we call in the south. And we call in the sacred waters. We call in the flow to allow us to flow with life. We call in our inner wise children. We call in our innocence. We call in all that which will support us to flow with our emotions so that we can flow with them and not be drowned in them. We honor our innocence. We call in the south with the O sound 3 times. Exhale. Take a breath in. Oh. 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 And the south is with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we call in the west. We call in the element of earth. We call in the radical trust to allow us to trust ourselves, to be able to navigate the unknown, to dive in deep into our own caves, dive into the unconscious, with a sense of curiosity. For we have an eclipse coming, and the eclipse will eclipse something to bring it up to the surface. So allowing us to navigate with an ease and flow, and having the support of the earth to help us to develop the trust to help us to navigate this unknown time. We welcome the West with the ooh sound 3 times. Exhale. Take a breath in. And the West is with us. We call in the North. And we call in the element of air. We call in the sacred breath. That which connects us, that which is the bridge between all aspects of ourselves, and that which connects us to all of life. We call in the wisdom keepers, elders, benevolent, loving, wise ancestors who hold space, who love us. We call in that which supports us to know. We call in the wisdom, the wise part of ourselves to come forward. We welcome the North with the ah sound 3 times. Exhale. Take a breath in. We welcome the North. And we call in the center of this container, which includes the earth and the sky. So I'll just honor the earth, honoring the below. We call in Mother Earth. We honor the lands of which we all stand upon. Whatever land we're standing upon, we honor the original peoples, the peoples who took care of the land. We ask for right relationship, reciprocity. We honor all of the lands, the waters. We honor the lands that we all come from, our different ancestral lines, lineages. We honor those lands as well. We honor that which supports us, nourishes us, Mother Earth. Feeling our connection to her. We honor the below, and we honor the above, the sky, the sun, which shines down now, illuminating our minds, purifying the mind-body system. The sun on the longest day of the year for us in the North. And it would be the shortest day of the year for those in the South. So we honor the sun. We honor Grandmother Moon. and her wisdom teachings about the cycles. We honor the new moon that's coming in later tonight or tomorrow for you in Europe. We call in the cosmos, the planets, stars, and all their constellations. We honor the above and that which inspires us. And we honor the center of this container, that which connects us to our higher self, that which connects us home, that which connects us to the all, however you see that. We welcome in the center of this container with the sound of E 3 times. Exhale. Take a breath in. We welcome the center. And this sacred container is set.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
I know. Doesn't it feel different?
It feels totally different. I feel so connected with all these different directions and with us in the center, because like inside, it's outside. It's like we are connected to our heart, to our womb, with all what is, and it feels so potent. And especially in those highly transformational times, I mean, solstice, a new moon, and it's the solar eclipse as well tomorrow. I mean, speaking about real potent cosmological transformations coming in, and I think it's just only a glimpse of what we're experiencing on Earth as well, through so much which is coming from the shadows to the surface, coronavirus, anti-racism movement, you name it. And yeah, so how good is that, to be centered even though so much is going on out there? Thank you very much for that.
Well, it's always an honor. Always an honor to create spaces that are, that call in the potency of, of all the elements and the forces of nature. I mean, I really feel like working with the directions is such I think it's a universal ceremony. And, it's the ceremony that I think is probably the original ceremony for all humans, is my feeling. Because, it's so, the directions are like a container. They're our container. Yes. On this planet. And I think all the, I know in my, I've got different roots in my ancestry. I'm half Jewish and half English, Irish, Dutch, this mix. But so I've got some Celtic roots and the Jewish roots, and they all, at least those two lineages, they have ceremonies with the directions. And I remember, I learned, working with the directions from working in, I was first introduced years ago when I worked in the Native community. I worked in a Native women's organization in Toronto, like in the 1990. And I just, working there, I was exposed to a lot of First Nations teachings, just because I was working there, and I had to do certain kinds of trainings too. And I didn't learn about calling directions there, but there were so many seeds planted there, and it was more, it happened, when I started working with sound, like in the early, like I was always singing, but when I started to work with sound in a more co-creative way of playing with sound and improvising and learning about improvisation, I started working with a woman in Toronto, Anne Bourne, and her teacher was Pauline Oliveros, and who was began the whole deep listening, was the founder of the deep listening movement. And so I kind of, and I learned about, I learned how to, we learned sounding in directions there. And so that kind of began that, but then all the working with different teachers and mentors from different, one of my mentors is from Zimbabwe, some from Peru, like I kept noticing everybody's doing directions, Buddhists, yogis, like everywhere, Jewish.
Yeah, the northern tradition or the Siberian tradition where I'm, which is weaving through my lineage, is similar, like the northern tradition with all the different gods, the celestial gods, then the thunder gods, like the air gods, and then the dwarfs, and then the hell, and then the fertile gods, Freya, and then the elves. There you have got the wheel again, or the runic wheel. All the runes, 24 runes are also in a wheel and corresponds to those certain energies on the world, or the 4 deities from the Tengri Siberian shamanic traditions. There are also the 4 different directions, and it's like pointing to those deep truths all around the world, because we are all connected. So to this different elements or deities, and we can feel it. I mean, I was feeling it once we center ourselves and invite those energies in, and then I can feel it in my whole body.
Yeah, because you are, because we are that. So we feel the truth of it. We feel the truth of the directions. We feel the truth. We may have our own interpretations of what means what, and what I learned a long time ago that one of my mentors, Mandaza, I remember having a session with him, and we were talking about the directions and the elements of which one, and I told him, I just feel into what in that moment do I feel is the element for that direction, like, and it changes. And he goes, yes. He goes, yeah, because, it's us humans, we get attached to, this means that, and that means that, but the elements and the directions don't care. They're just happy to be honored. So I love that. That was a really great, that was a wonderful, like affirmation, because I was already doing it, and he just affirmed that, yes, that's it was great. So that is how I always do. We did a longer container. I'll be doing these containers when we do our 5 days. Every day we do a little container to be in, because I feel it's very important when we're working with energies that we create space. Sacred space is really important. So it's always a part of everything I do with people when I do groups.
Yes, so important.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward, because I also would like to participate in this 5-day radical self-nourishment challenge. And with the registration, there will be a Facebook group.
Yep.
With a live call, I think you said 2 p.m. Pacific. No, Eastern time. Which I think is 6 hours difference, isn't it, between you and me?
Yeah, so that's like 8 o'clock your time, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But if we cannot attend live, we'll be available in the group.
Yep. and also because some people may not be on Facebook. Well, everybody listening here would be on Facebook, but there are sometimes I've had in my that people aren't on Facebook. So then I create a recording and send it out in an email too. So you can get it two ways. There'll be there'll be recordings in the Facebook group, and then and the idea is like people can share their experiences. And I mean, we're doing kind of stuff in the meditations that we're going to be doing, and so it's quite rich. And the last time I did this, there was a lot of very rich sharing, and so it's nice. And also, like, that group, people join the group. It's the Facebook group for the any 5-day challenge. So get to meet other people that are playing with these energies, and so it's nice. It's like building a nice community of people that really want to work on their self-care, because that's the point. I feel with healers and change makers, and I created this because I myself, as a change maker, like, I've gone through all this stuff. So I couldn't create this stuff if I didn't go through it myself, and it really, for me, my inspiration is, I was on a spiritual path since I was about 27, I would say consciously. And so it's quite a long time, because I'm 56 now. So, but my journey was, I was doing the work, but I really there was a real gap. There was a real, I realized that because I had so much drama, in my 30s, I would say, like, in my 30s, I had a lot of drama. And I realized that, I didn't know that I didn't love myself. Sometimes we don't know that, but it shows up because of what's happening in our life, kind of reveals where we are in our self-love. And I really feel that there's a connection between that loving ourselves and our capacity to care for ourselves. And I really feel there's a strong connection. And I remember, so radical self-nourishment really came out of, I was invited by my mentor, Mandaza, I was mentioning earlier, from Zimbabwe. He sent, he always is sending me on these, kind of vision quest journeys that are kind of like in my own style. One was go to the mountain, and we talked about that in our last interview. And then, and this one, and after I had done that, he says, you need another vision quest to the desert. You need to go to the desert. And so when I went to a desert in California, the Joshua Tree National Park, which is amazing, like an incredible. And I went camping there for a few days, and I just had such a strong experience of when I arrived in the park. I had one CD playing in the rental car, and it was this Jennifer Bearson. She's a Canadian artist, singer, and she has this beautiful, like, she does the Tara mantra, the Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha, which is a Buddhist mantra to green Tara. And,
oh my God! It's also the mantra for the red Tara. Look in the back.
Oh yeah.
This is a painting of a red Tara, and I've got the mantra Om Tara Tam Swaha for the red Tara as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's many mantras for Tara, but that's for the green Tara. I know, and I mean, she's so, she really helps. She helps us when we're suffering, when we're going through suffering. It's a really powerful mantra to chant. Om Tara Tu Tare Ture Soha. It's really powerful. And the mantra, there's seed sounds that, they activate us. We don't need to understand the meaning, but it's like the mantra works on you, and it really works on the self-compassion and self-love. I feel that mantra is very strong, connecting to your higher self and connecting with your heart. And I would had that CD playing my whole that was all that would play in one song. And in that song, it has like all these different artists from all over the world. So they're singing like, you know, like beautiful singers from Brazil, from India. And so you've got their kind of their improvisations, and then she goes back to the mantra, and it's like about, I don't know, it's like a half an hour long piece. I would just have that on when I would be driving. You have to drive through the park. When I was so, I don't know what happened to me when I got in that desert. It's so bare and stripped down. It's like very bare mountains. And I remember just wailing in the car, but it was kind of like, it was just this massive release. I think I released for about 3 days. Crying and crying and crying. And, you know, it wasn't until the last day. And so I just was in this kind of release and purification. And I was as I was walking on that land and being on the land and sleeping on the land, it was like I was getting stripped down to the bare bones of life, which is, desert is the bare bones of life. To me, it's like you get down to the simplicity. I mean, it's like, it's such a, you know, it seems like such a harsh environment. It's such a beautiful environment, you know, and amazing how much life is living there. And the miracle of how the plants, you know, how they live on so little water. And it's just, it was such a teaching to be on the land. And, you know, and when I asked Mandaz at the beginning, he said, don't bring an altar. Don't bring an altar. I said, okay. He goes, you are the altar.
I just wanted to say, because you are really the altar, yeah.
And you know, at that time, I didn't understand so well. I might not have understood that I'm the altar. I would have thought, oh, well, I'm not the, you know, and so I really took on, I'm the altar. And it was really powerful. And on the last day, I
what came up for you when you really felt that you are the altar? What came up for you?
Well, it was a remembrance. It's the remembrance of my wholeness, you know, and it's a kind of like a sense of reverence and awe and wonder, you know, that the altar is, you know, these, you know, and the oneness, you know, it's like we're all one. It's like, you know, we think we're separate from this candle and from this feather and from that stone, you know, but it's, we're all, you know, we're all aspects of the whole. And, you know, and we might know that conceptually. We don't all the time feel it. And so in the journey, I started to have the feeling of it, to feel the wholeness. And that doesn't happen all the time. We get glimpses of the wholeness. Yes. But I started getting glimpses of the wholeness. What happened was that on the last day, a beautiful object, like a stone, came to me. And I was told I was going to find something very powerful that would help a lot of people. You know, Mandaza saw that somehow. And, you know, it was funny. I actually, like, I was in this Joshua tree field, and there were 2 Joshua trees. It was like a portal. It was like a doorway. And on the other side of the door, I saw this big stone, It was like this big. And I saw it, and was like, oh. and I felt called to go. I went, oh, I'm stepping through a doorway. I knew it. I'm going through a portal. And I stepped through, and the stone was right there waiting for me. And I knew it was for me. I didn't even have to ask it. I knew it. It was for me. And always, I always make an offering if I take anything from, if I'm, receiving something from, I'm being gifted with something. I always return that, so that we, so there's a good balance and reciprocity. And so I made I probably was carrying tobacco with me, or I had some cornmeal, whatever medicine I was carrying at the time. I made the offering, and I went and sat with the stone. It was such a powerful, and then like I get a lot of messages and I have to write, like they come through, like I have to have a notebook and a pen, and then it comes through, and I had a whole message about love. And I don't have it, the main message was that, that there's, it was all about love, and how, there's no worthiness to get, and because what I was seeing was how much I didn't love myself, and over the years, like all the things, and I was just kind of clearing it out through the vision quest. And it was just a beautiful, like, and this stone is my touchstone, to remember that I am love. And anyway, out of that whole journey, I reflected a lot about, those of us who are, who are very drawn to change making work, who are doing lots of work out helping others, and we're helping others, and we're giving, and not so good at receiving. And I was like that, not very good at receiving and not loving myself enough. And so it was out of that understanding from my own experience that and then also seeing it in so many others, colleagues. I just see it everywhere. And having worked a lot on the front lines as well, I worked a lot in a kind of social work kind of stuff, working with homeless, working with addicts. And so I saw the burnout, and I almost burned out years ago. I almost burned out from doing that kind of work, and which is powerful and important work, but it's got to be balanced with your self-care. And self-care is something, to me, that is, it's like, if we don't care for ourselves, how can we care for others? Yes. What are we actually doing? So what important. Is it like for your ego? Like, what are you doing? So it's and I'm not judging that at all. It's just, I feel, especially now, we're in such a moment of massive change. I think it's evolutionary change. I think we're breaking down to break through, and everything that has not worked in our society, all the structural, systemic issues, they're all up there, that have all been there, for thousands of years, are up for clearing and changing, and are up for us to examine within ourselves, yes. To transmute and transform within, because all that is out there is in here, and we can't go, oh, it's not me. It's like we're part of the whole, so therefore we have to go in and take our responsibility.
Yes.
And so so that's all part of self-care. And and when we can care for ourselves so profoundly, then can you imagine the impact, the energy that's released, and the capacity that's able to evolve within you as in your healing work? Like, to me, it's exponential when yes. when you are resourced, and when it's like, then you can be a you could be this fountain of water that's just whatever.
Overflowing abundance.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
overflowing abundance. And then you are just like, you're that flow. You're the flow, and then you don't get you know, you're able to just offer. And you also are able to know when, okay, you know, it's like building in practices that allow you to be the fountain. And that requires practice. It's, you know, you know, we have to, it requires a steadiness of practice. Yeah. And that's very much the, you know, the radical self-nourishment work is about building that capacity to do that practice. But to, you know, I have a kind of, yeah, there's a yogic formula for it. So, and for that, to maintain that, because there's a, you know, kind of balancing act that goes on. And yeah, so it's pretty profound. Anyway, I feel very passionate about this for a long time. I mean, the course was, I can't, you know, it came in 2012. And it was birthed in 2012, this radical self-nourishment.
Which is, of course, a very important portal as well, according to Mayan calendar. That has already been a new time frame. Timeline has opened up in 2012.
Yeah, and so it got birthed in that time. And just around that time, like October, November, like just before the 12/12 portal. Yeah, so very powerful. And yeah, I love sharing this this work. And the 5-day challenge is, you know, it's quite fun, because we do some really neat, do you want to hear what we're doing on each day, just to get a sense of it?
Yes, please. I'm curious.
Yeah, so just so you know, so day 1 is about reclaiming your energy. You know, because we have so many, you know, where are we leaking the energy? Day 2, define your boundaries. Very important. Day 3, weave a strong personal space. Day 4, become a powerful receiver. And day 5, nourish yourself radically with 5 attitudes. And that's the radical self-nourishment secret recipe.
Well, it certainly made me very excited and curious. And I look forward.
I'm glad you're going to be joining, Erica. That'll be really great to have your energy there. And yeah, no, it's powerful. It's great when, you know, and the power of this work is about the sharing that happens. Because we realize, you know, this is a kind of thing that healers and change makers may not want to talk about. Right? Nobody wants to talk about it. People don't like to, you know, especially healers might not want to.
I love it. I mean, in my training of becoming a soul-based coach, like holding space for each other is one of the 3 pillars for healing. Like showing up and then holding space, and whatever comes up is welcome, and trying to find an expression for that. That's why it's the power of the metaphor so important. And on my journey, I discover more and more how healing it is to really just show up and be present, and also share with each other what's coming up. So I love it. And I'm certainly a student on ongoing process journey. The whole life is a process like that, and following the emergence, like I become more and more aware about which impulses or emergences are calling to me. Like sharing with you now and your work, I feel a nudge, like, oh, that's where I can go deeper. And the healing takes place when we listen to what is calling out to us at this moment of time. This is already
Absolutely.
an important part of the healing. And then go on the journey again and again, what is calling out to me, and then share and dive deeper and deeper. That's how our souls evolve.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it feels such a blessing to see those opportunities like you're offering now. I see it as a gift. Yeah, it's like, wow, great that I can participate, and I feel joy in my soul that I respond to it, to this next gift. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Wow. So nice to hear. And yes, this idea of a holding space is so important for each other. And I think we're stronger when we build community,
Yes.
and when we can share our challenges, and you know, because it's something that can be very private. Like, I don't want people to know that, you know, as a healer, like, I don't want people to know that I'm feeling this, you know, that this is coming up for me, or, you know, and just know that it's really natural. Like, we're all in a process of evolving, and we're complicated as humans. You know, we're complicated and we're simple, but we're really good at complicating things because our minds are so tricky. And
Yes.
because we get confused with what we think is real. You know, we have a lot of confusions, and yoga philosophy has a lot of great explanations about our confusion. And so that's something I go in a lot in my radical self-nourishment programs. We talk a lot about that because it's really helpful to have that as a way to understand why we do what we do. You know, why we have such challenges, and why 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 does this thing keep coming up over and over again, you know? And yeah, so, you know, I think there's power in being together, sharing,
Absolutely.
and being vulnerable, because when we can be honest with where we are, it actually makes us so much more powerful. And then if we have clients, then that also you know, it shows our humanity, and I think makes us more accessible, you know, our work more accessible in a way. That's my feeling.
Well, and we can literally feel it in our bodies. For me, a very important part of healing is to the embodiment of what otherwise is just a theory, and to sharing and feeling, or giving it's a voice or an expression. I think it's also so important. That's why soul-based coaching is all based on the healing of the embodied metaphor, the images which arise in us, that we are starting to find words or a creative expression for it, and then share it. And through finding a form and expression and through the sharing, these are already the steps in action.
Yes.
And this is
Beautiful.
so important, and otherwise it just becomes a bypassing. I had that in my life a lot of times, where I think, oh, glimpses, now I feel joy and aha moments, and then I'm all forever happy. No, it doesn't work like that, because whatever comes up, it's an opportunity to look at it in a more deeper way, and that's where vulnerability comes in, and the courage to go there in this vulnerable places when it keeps coming up. And I'm definitely so grateful for those resonance
Yes.
places, and I'm sure yours is going to be like that. And I like to provide something similar to this weirding way, to invite people to come into in these core groups, in this sharing circles, and that's where the healing takes place, and where
I
everything is
agree.
welcome. Everything is welcome. It's like I always used to, like I was brought up, I think I like so many people, like especially from influence from a communism ideology is like, you have to be the best in everything, you have to do it like in community, but always make it by yourself and everything. But in it's the healing takes place together in co-creation with each other, where everything is welcome and when people are seen and understood, that's where the healing takes place.
Absolutely. That's yeah, and my influence of working in circles is from being in lots of different healing circles over the years, and I kind of take that, and I was in a community that was part of connecting with Mandaza, who's based in Zimbabwe, the Dare community, which is council, being in council with one another, and it has similar, you know, similar idea of we're all together, and it's sort of the community is listening, is just holding space, and it's where the healing can happen. And it's not only a council of just the people, but also because we call in the space and we call in the unseen energies that space for us to be there. And so then the council becomes a council of all beings. And then incredible healing happens when you invite in the multiverse, so to speak. Then the healing really can happen.
Well, that's what we did at the beginning.
That's what we did.
Writing the elements. And
should we close this space?
Yes, I think this is very important to close it as well.
We always have to, if you open a space like this, you always have to close it. I'll do a shortcut closing though. We'll do it shortcut, and we'll do one sounding to release all the 7 directions at once.
Okay.
Okay, so we give thanks for this beautiful container that's held us so powerfully and brought in all this magical conversation and all that needed to be said and shared. And we give thanks, and we ask for loving integration for everybody who's been listening to this call today and in the future. We give thanks to this container. We give thanks to all of you who have been holding the space. We give thanks to those of you that we called in from the east, from the south, thank you. From the west, thank you. From the north, thank you. From the center, we honor you. From the below, Mother Earth, we thank you. From the above, we thank you. From the center, we release you with our love and gratitude. You may travel well. Go now in peace and love and beauty, and travel on these 3 ahs together. We release you with love. And this sacred container is released. Yeah, there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Erica. What an like, so fun to talk to you. I love where we just went. You know, we didn't talk about what we were going to talk about. So I like how we just flowed with it. It's fun.
That's how I love it the most.
Me too.
Giving space to what wants to naturally emerge to us and express to us.
Yeah, exactly. I like that way too. That's my, yeah, I like that kind of improvisational way of dancing and seeing what is emerging and what's alive in the moment. So appreciate the beautiful conversation with you, and I hope that that people listening, that you that you were nourished by this conversation. And if you would like to join us, please join the 5-day challenge. It's going to be fun, and if you can't be live, there's recordings, so love to have you.
There was a link in the above for the ones who want to join, and thank you very, very much for the sacred space together, and for the elements, and for all the spirits who have been sharing with us. And I look forward to the journey of radical self-nourishment starting next Monday.
Yay, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you. Blagadaru, many blessings.
Blagadaru. Many blessings. So much love.
Mm-hmm.